Since CRASS operated as a collective, it was more inviting to have people join or at least see things for themselves.
Maybe also what made it easy was that, or made people take notice, was that there we were, CRASS, one of the biggest punk bands, going. And there we were sort of, saying, come on, let's do this, and we can do it really cheap. Come on, we can do it,
Mm-hmm.
And I think people went, we even sort of gave all the proceeds from records to an anarchist centre. I think all the money went on plastic chairs or something.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember now. But it ran for a while, and then it died its death. But the people involved, we had a little go at it. At least we tried. But I think from that, maybe that also sparked a seed. For what later became raves. With the squatting of buildings or fields, and then having your own little festival and then going away again.
Mm-hmm.
So I think maybe we had a little hand in that as well.
Yeah. Well, and you've probably had a little hand in a lot of little things that you don't even know about. Because all it is, it's an idea. You put your ideology out there, and someone will interpret it however they're going to. Yeah, they end up being inspired and doing something that you have, and you may still have no idea.
Yeah, and in some cases, maybe they did it even better.
Right.
You never know, so...
Do you bring that same CRASS mindset, like the life of commitment, to anything else?
Well, definitely in my life, yeah.
What are you committed to?
Well, I'm a member of the Sea Pooling, that's where I live, Sea Pooling Independent Lifeboat.
And what is that?
Well, it's a rescue boat that if people, are drowning, we go out and save them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're not part of the RNLI. We're totally independent. We're all volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
And, we do it for nothing. But if someone needs rescuing, we'll be there to rescue them.
And are you a skilled, scuba person, or...? No,
I'm not. I'm learning CPR and all that stuff at the moment. But basically I'm number 3 on the crew, which means... I'm responsible for the making sure the engine's running okay, making sure the aerial that things are working, and as a lookout, and as number 3, I'm responsible for getting the person, on the boat.
Like getting them stable once they're on?
Well, but no, what our job is to, as quickly as possible, get them back to shore, and then the Coast Guards or the paramedics will take care of that. But should there be a situation where someone is in need of oxygen, we've got an oxygen tank on the boat, we can do that. We can try CPR. Obviously, if they've got a broken leg, we can put in a splint, but it's only a sort of temporary measure till we get them to the paramedics.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're the first responders, I suppose you would call us.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I know, it's frightening.
It must be exhilarating.
Well, exhilarating is one word for it, but we get pretty big waves over here on the North Sea, and sometimes when you're out there at night, that can sort of... going on stage in front of sort of 800 virile skinheads throwing ashtrays at you is nothing. Which isn't to say I want 800 skinheads throwing ashtrays at me.
We'll be bringing our ashtrays.
Bring rubber ones here.
We'll hold you to that.
Yeah,
see if we
you're
can...
not allowed to smoke anymore in venues, are you?
No.
Oh, can you smoke in the street?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay, then, right. Yeah, well, I'm going to anyway. I'll see you in jail.
So you're a lifesaver?
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome.
So that, and the commitment, it took me a long time to join. But I said to the other crew members, look, because I donated a load of money to them from the Shepherd's Bush gigs.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I would give it to something that was local to me, because then I could see exactly where the money went.
Yeah.
And the money went on new life jackets. They're, top of the range, up-to-date life jackets. Last year we had 19 call-outs, and I can assure anyone who paid to get into the Shepherd's Bush Empire that some of their money went to saving at least 8 lives last year, for which, we as the crew, and also obviously the people who've been saved, are eternally grateful. So anyway, yeah, when the crew said, you should join, I said, look, I don't want to say, I'll do this and then not be able to commit myself to it. This is a really important thing. Basically, the way it works with us is that if you can give even 15 minutes of your time just to put on the kettle, you know, to make the coffee when the guys come back from being at sea, or if you can sweep the floor, or if you can wash down the boat, or anything little like that. If you can give 15 minutes, if you can give 2 hours, it makes no difference. Just do what you can. You know, it's voluntary, but you know, just give what you can, really. So, so I went along and I started learning things, and I stayed.
So, Steve, what I really get from you is that you're really there for others.
I try to be, yeah.
You know, and we're talking decades.
Well, look, you know, when I was a kid growing up, you know, I remember when I was at school, I was I was a skinny kid who was never any good at soccer, you would call it, but football we call it over here. I was never any good at sports. My parents used to, and this is not a sob story, my parents used to go out drinking every weekend, and I wasn't allowed to have a front door key, so all I could do was stay in the apartment, watching the streets go empty and the street lights go on, and then I'd take myself to bed. I remember feeling so sort of lonely. And then when we started doing, you know, when punk came along, I was like, oh, you know, I can get into this. And I did, because it seemed to be a cry from the, you know, not the underprivileged, but at last the skinny, spotty kid who was bullied at school had could say something. And then when we started doing gigs, I realised that certainly a lot of the Crass fans were a lot of the kids who were obviously the misfits, the real outcasts at school. And I used to be one of them. And for me, it's like, it's always been a thing of like, again, you know, when I was growing up and I wanted to buy a David Bowie album, you know, I remember I had to save and scrimp and all this. And it was either a choice of going to the cinema or buying the album. You know, I couldn't do both. And so that's why when we started, my sort of feeling was that, right, okay, if we can afford it, let's put out the records really cheap. Let's do the gigs really cheap, because then not only can they come and see us or can they buy the record, but they also might be able to buy a packet of cigarettes or buy a pint of beer as well. And that's always been my thing, you know. So I'm not a great saint or a martyr or anything. I've been an idiot as much as anybody in my life, but yes.
And a lot of people can't even relate, though, to living their lives. Well, one, I see that you may not be able to stop performing because it's like you have a voice. So
I don't think, Diane, I see where you're going with this. I mean, you know, this tour I'm doing is called The Last Supper. I wanted to perform these Crass songs for one last time. And I've called it The Last Supper because I want everybody to know that I promise, and I'm committed to it, and my conscience won't let me. But after I perform the last show, which is going to be in London, England, probably in November, I will never, ever perform Crass songs live on stage again. Ever, and I mean that. And that's a really odd thing for me to say, because it's like, whoa. So my plans are, once I've done this, I'll take maybe a year off, and I've got some new material I want to do, but my next venture will be a kind of spoken word thing. But I want to present it, so I'd like to go on stage with like little props, with lighting and with visuals, and a little 3-piece combo. So it'll be like watching a theatre play or something. And it'll be me talking about, well, me, I suppose, and the things I've done. And then I'm hoping to open it into a question and answer session, and see how it goes. And then I'd like to do that in smaller venues, you know, like folk clubs or basements and things, you know, bookshops or whatever, pubs, I don't know, anywhere that will take it. But it's important for me that, you know, if and when I start doing that if people want to come and see Steve Ignorant, you know, spoken word thing, and I don't know what I'm going to call it, but it's important for them to know you are not going to hear Others to Live In or any Crass song. So, you know, that's it. And I have to make that plain. I'm not, you know, I promise to everybody that, you know, once this tour is finished, in 2-3 years' time, you won't see Steve Ignorant, The Last Supper, revisited or anything like that. I promise I will not be a Sham 69 or a Damned or whatever, but keep on doing it and doing it.
And thanks for being really clear with that.
It's not Crass, it's Steve Ignorant.
Right. And you're somebody who has so much to say, and that people have related to you for so long. We don't want you to shut up.
Yeah, well, to try and get this mouth to stop, it takes a lot of pints of alcohol, let me tell you. And then I'll start singing, so, you know.